Bricklink has just told sellers across multiple countries that they have 2 weeks to shut down their stores. At the same time, fan-designed LEGO sets are selling out in minutes. Scalpers are having a field day every single time Bricklink Designer Program releases new sets. And new Bricklink users still need some arcane knowledge just to find the right brick, set, or to even create a wishlist. So the question we have for ourselves should no longer be, how is Bricklink changing? The real question is this day, is Bricklink slowly failing the AFOL community? Welcome back everyone, your favourite blue-robed wizard Majisto here, and today we're taking a calm but honest look at where Bricklink has come from and where it feels like it's headed. What does the future hold? Is it grim? Is it bad? Is it good? Let's dive in together, shall we? As you may know, Bricklink began in the year 2000, founded by Dan Jezek as a fan-made LEGO marketplace built by the community and for the community. Tragically, in 2010, Dan passed away, but instead of his legacy fading away, the site was kept alive by AFOLs themselves. By 2004, Bricklink has grown into the largest dedicated LEGO secondary marketplace in the world. In 2013, it was acquired by the Korean company Nexon, and then in November 2019, the LEGO Group officially acquired Bricklink and brought it under direct LEGO ownership. Just in 2020, LEGO launched the Bricklink Designer Program as a way to test fan-designed sets through crowdfunding. In March 2022, Bricklink suspended all store activity in Russia and Belarus following the invasion of Ukraine, aligning with wider LEGO sanctions. By 2023, the Bricklink Designer Program became a recurring production platform for creators around the world, with the rules and requirements being less strict than the ideas set. In 2024, Bricklink began deeper integration into LEGO's wider digital ecosystem through account systems and backend changes. And now, in 2025, we're seeing major disruption as store operations begin shutting down in multiple global regions, raising serious concerns about access and Bricklink's long-term independence and role in the community. Looking at that timeline, it's clear Bricklink's direction has fundamentally shifted, and from an AFOL's perspective, that shift doesn't necessarily feel like a positive one, does it? Let's take a look at the whys. Today, the Bricklink Designer Program is being flooded with hundreds of entries every cycle, and the difference in quality between many of the submitted sets can be massive. As much as it is an opportunity for literally anyone to have their own LEGO set sold, it is also a truly tedious task to browse through all of the entries and vote for the one you would like to see hit production. At the same time, the sets that do make it through to the production stage often feel like the very kinds of sets that might otherwise release as full, genuine themes. For example, Castle, Pirates, but also 3-in-1 sets, Icons, and others. The Bricklink owners could really harness the opportunity here and choose to release sets that would not find a market on the shop shelves. And I don't mean niches, but rather sets or themes that would be more appealing to AFOLs, that predominantly use Bricklink in the first place anyway. Because these sets are often released in limited numbers and limited availability, they become prime targets for scalpers, who are able to buy multiple copies and flip them almost immediately for quite the profit margins. I have seen this myself multiple times over the past years, where a castle set is sold for double the price, if not more, just shortly after the sale window has closed. Meanwhile, genuine builders miss out. AFOLs such as myself and many of you that would want to buy these sets for their display and also support the community don't really get that chance. I, for one, have not considered buying any of the BDP sets yet, purely because of how the user experience currently looks like. On top of that, sale window times and server issues have become a constant problem. Some sets are well known to sell out in a matter of minutes. The fact that sales often start at the same time for users across the globe also doesn't help, as sets may be available to you in the middle of the night, depending on your time zone. Every launch feels like a gamble. Will the site hold, or will it crash again? What time will I need to log on? I am not even going to mention FOMO here, as I will cover that in a separate video. Although Bricklink's user interface has seen a refresh, it can still be extremely overwhelming for new users. Simply finding a set, or even worse, a specific brick, often requires detailed knowledge of brick names, element numbers, or exact variations. And sure, you can buy the box or instructions on their own. The fees for sellers are very attractive, but a lot of AFOLs don't even know that Bricklink exists. So your store exists in a super competitive market with users that know exactly what they want. If postage, price or time, maybe handling fees or other criteria is not met, you can sit on your inventory for weeks, months or even years in some cases. It is equally difficult for someone new to complete basic tasks such as parting out a set, creating a wish list, and then properly using those features to their advantage. Bricklink remains incredibly powerful, but it still feels built for experts rather than welcoming AFOLs coming out of their dark ages. And all of this is happening while the designer program series continue coming thick and fast, with designs being submitted 2 to 3 times per year, increasing the pressure on both the buyers and the infrastructure. While it wasn't a major shock when Bricklink and LEGO suspended operations in Russia and Belarus back in 2022 due to obvious global events, last week's news was a true shock to the system and the community. Bricklink posted the details of the 35, yes, you heard me right, 35 suspended countries in only a short message on their website, giving affected sellers and stores just 2 weeks' notice to cease all operations. Now, to put things into perspective, if your Bricklink store was set to disappear in just 2 weeks, what would you do? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I really want to hear them. I would most likely move operations to Brickowl, but also strongly consider creating my own web store, with Bricklink not being present in the market no more. As you can imagine, many of the affected countries have well-established Bricklink markets, and will now have to adjust to this new, difficult reality extremely quickly. Coincidentally or not, the announcement was made just before Black Friday, and it will take effect right before Christmas, to the disappointment of all the sellers and buyers hoping to fill up their stockings in the affected countries. From the outside and just on paper, it feels rushed and lacking in consideration. But we also need to consider the giant stance on this. LEGO is a multi-billion pound, or plastic chrome gold coin, company that needs to protect its profit margins and adapt to laws and regulations at a local and regional level, all of which can eat into the profits. From a business point of view, it is absolutely understandable to suspend operations in regions that don't meet financial requirements. Just like we as AFOLs don't spend money on LEGO themes or sets we're not interested in, the LEGO group won't continue to invest in areas of the business that don't hit their targets. It's very simple when you think about it. The laws, custom systems, regulations and logistics behind these decisions may be and probably are far more complex than most of us realize. Still, it's surprising to see major countries like Turkey, Brazil and India on that list, especially if you ask the old, somewhat wise wizard. Now, it's not all doom and gloom, let's make that clear. Bricklink is still thriving in many countries that are not affected by these news. LEGO also still maintains a physical presence in some of the affected regions through official LEGO stores. Alternatives do exist. Brickowl is a strong example, offering a very similar user experience and features to Bricklink. It is also integrated with Rebrickable, meaning that if you buy or download instructions for a mock, you can complete your parts list using Brickowl directly. And while we can absolutely sympathize with sellers and buyers in the affected countries, many of the smaller regions do represent only a fraction of Bricklink's total global market. You may have very strong feelings about this topic, and the likelihood of that is much higher if you live in one of the affected countries, or even own a storefront over there. There's no doubt that the situation around Bricklink over the past few years hasn't been black and white, and this latest move is certainly not the greatest PR moment for them. However, if you put your entrepreneur hat on, this decision does begin to make sense, slowly, but it does. With alternative ways of buying Lego such as Brickable, and with all the themes still surviving through the Bricklink designer program, I like to think that the future is still somewhat bright. Definitely not pink, but bright, like Gandalf at dawn, or any other wizard with a long white beard. Finally, I really want to hear from you on this. Do you think Bricklink is still truly serving the AFOL community? Or has it started serving the business first, against the vision of the founder? What is your hot take on this? And if you live in one of these affected countries, how has this announcement impacted you personally? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this reflection useful, consider liking and subscribing so you don't miss the next one. Or a blue-robed wizard may reorganize your Bricklink store inventory without your knowledge. Thanks for watching, and remember, build with Majisto.